Imagine this: the water is calm, your reflection shimmering on its surface, until something beneath snaps. A crocodile bites your leg. Panic floods your mind. Instinct tells you to fight, to pull your leg free. But in that desperate moment, reason whispers a different truth. If you resist, you might lose everything. The image is brutal, but it's the perfect metaphor for how life tests us. This, economists call the crocodile effect, the wisdom of knowing when to stop struggling before the loss consumes you. Psychologists describe this instinct as a battle between two forces: the primal brain that clings to survival and the rational mind that calculates risk. In behavioral studies, humans are shown to fear loss twice as much as they value gain. That's why cutting your losses feels unnatural. It defies our biology. Yet those who master this act of detachment often find peace long before others do. So ask yourself, when something grips you, an investment, a dream, a relationship, how long will you let it drag you under? The answer may not lie in holding tighter, but in knowing when to release. Sometimes wisdom begins at the moment you stop fighting. In the world of economics, the crocodile effect isn't just a metaphor, it's a survival rule. Traders live by it. The moment numbers turn red, the best ones don't hope or pray, they act. They adjust, retreat, or close their position before the market devours their fortune. This discipline separates the wise from the reckless. Yet what's fascinating is how this principle stretches far beyond finance. Behavioral economist Daniel Kahneman called it loss aversion, our brain's irrational refusal to accept defeat, even when logic demands it. We cling to sinking investments the way we cling to fading love, not because they're valuable, but because we can't bear to admit they're gone. In life, as in trading, hesitation turns small wounds into fatal ones. The crocodile effect is not cruelty, it's clarity. It asks us to confront reality without emotional fog, to trade comfort for truth. And when you think about it, that's the essence of growth itself, the courage to stop feeding what's already dying. But can the heart ever act as swiftly as the mind? That's the struggle we face next. Why do we hold on when everything inside us knows it's time to let go? The answer lies in one of humanity's most stubborn flaws, the sunk cost fallacy. It's the belief that because we've already invested time, effort, or emotion, we must stay, even if staying means suffering. Lovers stay in broken relationships. Workers stay in toxic jobs. Dreamers chase ideas long after they've lost meaning. We confuse persistence with purpose, loyalty with wisdom. Psychologists explain that our brains crave consistency. We fear regret more than pain itself. It's why soldiers fight lost wars, and why individuals defend decisions that destroy them. Yet, across centuries, cultures have whispered the same truth. Detachment is not defeat. From Buddhism's teaching of non-attachment to the Stoic call for serenity amid loss, humanity has always known this lesson, but we forget it every generation. To let go is not to stop caring, it's to stop bleeding. And perhaps the deeper tragedy is that we only recognize freedom once the weight is gone. The crocodile never hides in the water. It's our reflection that blinds us. Think about the quiet moments in your life, the job you dread every morning, the friendship that drains you, the dream that no longer excites you but feels impossible to abandon. These are your crocodiles too. They don't bite with teeth, they bite with guilt, fear, and habit. Many people mistake endurance for virtue, believing that staying loyal to pain somehow proves strength. But true strength lies not in staying, it lies in knowing when to stop. Modern culture romanticizes perseverance. We idolize hustle, glorify burnout, and celebrate those who never give up. Yet psychologists now warn that such obsession often hides deep emotional avoidance. The more we chase, the more we lose sight of why we began. To cut your losses is to reclaim your narrative. It's not an act of surrender. It's a quiet declaration that your peace matters more than your pride. Every life reaches a point where continuing costs more than quitting. The wise recognize it early, the stubborn too late. But the beautiful irony is that letting go doesn't shrink your world, it expands it. Because when your hands are empty, they're finally ready to hold something new. There's an old proverb: when a tiger is caught in a trap, it bites off its own leg to live. That's not brutality, it's wisdom written in pain. The tiger understands something we often forget. Survival sometimes requires sacrifice. Freedom is never free. The act of cutting away what holds us isn't just about loss, it's about choosing life over paralysis. Every human heart knows this truth. There comes a point when holding on becomes more painful than letting go. Yet we delay, hoping that if we endure long enough, things will heal themselves. They rarely do. The wound festers, and by the time we act, we've already lost far more than we feared. Across history, those who dared to start anew, artists, leaders, lovers, were often called reckless. But in hindsight, we call them brave. Pain is not the enemy, it is the gatekeeper of transformation. Each decision to walk away from what no longer serves us is an act of quiet heroism. The tiger's roar is not in its fight, it's in its choice to run free. The question is, will we have the same courage when the trap is ours? There's a strange paradox in loss. What feels like the end is often the beginning of awareness. When we finally let go of people, dreams, or illusions, we begin to see ourselves with startling clarity. The silence that follows pain isn't emptiness, it's space. A study by Viktor Frankl once suggested that meaning often emerges in suffering, not in comfort. The moment we stop resisting, we start understanding who we truly are. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote, "One must still have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star." Perhaps this is what the crocodile effect really teaches us, that chaos, when faced honestly, becomes creation. Loss peels away the false layers we wear to please the world. What remains is raw, but real. Many people fear starting over, yet in reality, every ending is just another word for becoming. When you cut away what hurts, you're not running from your life, you're returning to it. And somewhere in that quiet rebirth, you realize losing wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Every culture has its own way of teaching the art of release. In Japan, there's the concept of mono no aware, a gentle sadness in recognizing that all things are transient. The Stoics of ancient Rome spoke of amor fati, to love one's fate, even when it breaks you. And in the East, Zen masters teach that clinging is the root of all suffering. Different worlds, same truth. Peace is born not from possession, but from acceptance. Historically, humanity has always wrestled with control. Empires collapsed because rulers refused to retreat. Artists lost their light because they couldn't stop chasing perfection. In modern times, this struggle takes new forms: endless scrolling, constant comparison, the illusion that we can manage every outcome. Yet control, at its core, is an illusion. The river of life doesn't wait for our approval, it keeps flowing. To let go, then, is not weakness, it's alignment. It's choosing to flow with the current rather than drown fighting it. Perhaps that's the quiet grace the world forgets. We are never freer than when we accept that not everything is meant to be ours. Captain Tom Chandler once said, "God knows I've made mistakes, but I've never hesitated to make the right choice." That line cuts deep because it speaks to something most of us avoid: the courage to turn back. Society glorifies moving forward, yet few remind us that wisdom often hides in retreat. Sometimes the bravest step is the one that reverses direction. To turn back isn't failure, it's strategy. In psychology, this is known as cognitive flexibility, the ability to change course when reality shifts. Those who possess it adapt, survive, and thrive. Those who don't sink with their stubbornness. Think of a sailor who adjusts his sails when the wind turns. He doesn't curse the storm, he reorients his path. When life demands that we walk away, it isn't asking us to surrender. It's inviting us to evolve. Turning back simply means we've stopped worshipping the illusion of progress. Because real progress isn't about how far we go, it's about how true we remain to ourselves. The path backward at times leads us home. There comes a moment in every life when silence asks the question words cannot. How much more can you bear before you break? Knowing when enough is one of the hardest arts to master. It requires listening, not to fear or pride, but to the faint whisper of truth beneath the noise. That whisper is the compass of the wise. We live in a world that confuses more with better. More money, more recognition, more proof that we're winning. Yet history shows that fulfillment has never belonged to the one who had the most, but to the one who knew when to stop reaching. To say enough is to reclaim power from the endless chase. It's a rebellion against the myth of never-ending growth that exhausts both soul and planet. The crocodile effect isn't about loss, it's about clarity. It teaches us that sometimes the most profound victories are invisible. The peace of walking away, the relief of an untied knot, the grace of standing still. The question is no longer, can I keep going? But rather, should I? In the end, the crocodile effect is not about fear, it's about freedom. To cut your losses is to choose clarity over chaos, to honor the life that still awaits beyond what's been lost. Pain, when faced with honesty, becomes a teacher sharper than any victory. It reminds us that strength isn't measured by what we hold on to, but by what we dare to release. Every ending carries within it the seed of renewal. The moment you unclench your fists, you make space for something new to enter, perhaps love, peace, or simply silence. That silence, once frightening, soon becomes a friend. It whispers the truth that life is not a battle to win, but a rhythm to flow with. So as you close this chapter, take a moment to ask yourself, what crocodile have I been feeding too long? Because sometimes salvation doesn't roar, it sighs. It happens quietly, in the instant you decide to stop fighting what's already gone and start living what's yet to come.